graces of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So as we say this, oftentimes people have a total misunderstanding or miscommunication that we praise the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha will be really happy and will bless us. This is not connotation. Connotation, whether we praise, whether we don't praise, for the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, they always love us. They always take care of us. This is the point. Then why do we have to say these praises? It's because the praises are made on the basis of the points, various qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And as we read this, the qualities, as we see the qualities mentioned of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, see how many of these qualities are within you. If you do have these qualities, some of these part of these qualities, then rejoice. It's very important to identify the qualities mentioned there within you, and to rejoice and see how to cultivate them, to nurture them further. This is so important. One. Then number two is that if you don't have these qualities, there's no point, no need to worry about, no need to feel sad. See how to cultivate these qualities. And then see how to nurture them further. This is the whole point. And then the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas will be most happy if we cultivate these qualities. What is indicated there, if we try to cultivate these qualities, even 10%, even 5%, 2% is fine. And then on that basis you can develop further. This is how we will proceed through this journey. Gate, paragate, parasangate, bodhisoha. Okay, this is what we should be doing. We are very fortunate that we are reading this sutra. Okay, let's read this together. Homage to the Omniscient One, purified and consummate, victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. Thus gone, whole destroying, entirely perfect Buddha, full of wisdom, the blissfully proceeding, the Lord of the world, charioteer and subduer of beings, the unsurpassable and teacher of gods and men. Such is Buddha, victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. He who is thus gone exemplifies the merit which is his cause. In him no root of virtues is ever worn away. Through his manifold patience, he is accidentally beautiful. He is the treasure ground of merit, adorned with the tokens of enlightenment. His grace is the flowers of the marks of Buddhahood. All he does is done in noble tune, and nothing inharmonious marks the sight of him. True joy indeed he gives to those who open up their hearts to him in faith. Through the brilliance of his wisdom, he is unconfounded, and against his power there is no victory. He is the teacher of all living beings, the father of all bodhisattvas, and king of all supreme ones. He is the guide for those who journey to the city beyond afflictions. His wisdom is unbounded, his assurance is beyond imagination. His speech is altogether pure, well-tuned and sweet to hear. Gazing on him, one is never sated. His body is beyond compare. By the realm of desire, he is unstained, and by the realm of form, he is wholly uncontaminated. He is not mingled with the formless. He is altogether free from misery and from aggregates. He is utterly and altogether liberated. Elements have no hold on him. His mastery over the sense powers. All his bonds are completely severed, and from all pains he is perfect and totally released. No craving does he have. He has passed beyond the stream. Perfect is his wisdom, and is the wisdom of the Buddhas past, present, and to come. He has made his dwelling in Nirvana, where all suffering is transcended. He does not abide. He is the bodies of the summit of perfection, whence he perceives all living beings, such as the sublime qualities that are the greatness of the Buddha, victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. Several doctrine is righteous in the outset, righteous in the middle, righteous in the end. In its meaning excellent, and its words and syllables likewise, it is integral and unalloyed. It is all sufficing, altogether pure and purifying. Well spoken in this Dharma, but victorious, virtuous, and transcendent, is a perfect way of seeing and is devoid of flaws. It is perennial and leads us onward. To see this Dharma is to fulfill one's purpose. It provides in the wise the wisdom of all distinguishing, the Dharma spoken by the victorious, virtuous, and transcendent. It is shown to be right-tempered to the instructions and to the needs of all. It drives one from samsara and causes one to go to perfect Buddhahood. It is free from contradictions, and in it all is summarized. It is to be relied upon totally. It is a cutting of the root. The sum of the Mahayana comprises those who have well entered, once entered, entered with straightforwardness and aptitude. Right it is to join one's hands before them and right to make prostrations. They are the glorious fields of merit, they are the perfect recipient of gifts, they are the object of offering everywhere and always, they are the objects worthy of all offering. Okay, next page to Shakyamuni Buddha. Same. To the founder, the entire transcendent destroyer, the one born beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, full awakened being, perfect knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you the completed and fully awakened one, endowed to transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakti clan and prostrate from offerings and go for refuge. When, O Supreme amongst humans, you were born on this earth, you pace our 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world, to you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, formed supremely pure, wisdom motion like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you are prostrate. With the supreme science face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you are prostrate. Just like you, the 3 worlds are not, incompatible wise form, to you are prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone with dustness that restrain. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, one part the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies the restraint. Those who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime community intending virtue and restraint. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of Buddha. A star, a visual apparition, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the 4 faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, better than the ways of aging, sickness, and death. Okay, so we'll recite the Harsudha Mantra, which is page 17. Page 17, Harsudha Mantra. Tomorrow morning we'll recite the Krishna Harsudha, but here we'll recite Harsudha Mantra. As we recite the Harsudha Mantra, the Harsudha in the first place, Harsudha is the essence of all the teachings of Buddha. And Mantra is the essence of all the teachings of Buddha, which is so precious. And again here, as we recite this, let us remember that the Buddha Shakyamuni exalts us thus, that don't remain in the fears of samsara, come towards ultimate happiness. And you hearing this melodious voice, we inspire you to parents, we inspire all eternal sentient beings. Let us not remain in the fears of samsara anymore. Let us all go towards Buddhahood, the state beyond all miseries. And all eternal sentient beings hearing what you say, what you are, inspiring them. They are so inspired, they all join you in this journey of transcendent mind to reach the city of the liberation. With this mind, let us say this 7 times together. Gati 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 Okay, so for a very quick the orientation of what we're going to do for the next 4 days. Today.
4 days. 4 days.
Okay, from tomorrow is 4 days. Okay, so what we do is that the whole purpose of this, the Bodhicitta retreat till today, series 16, is to design, is for us to learn how to design our daily practice, and eventually, same if you have like say entity 1. Well, first I would say like this: the same. What is the real dharma? What's the real dharma? So we attend to many teachings from many teachers, and from there, say what is the main skeleton of the dharma? Main skeletons, and then once you know the main skeleton, the teachings that you receive from this teacher, where does it go? Teaching from that you receive from the other teacher, where does it go? So this is how we should know. Once we know this, then you get a blueprint of enlightenment. So see the total, what encompasses the whole path to enlightenment. Once you know this, then you will be able to design your daily practice. What a daily practice should be like. So some people, in fact, I would say that oftentimes what many, it's not just some, many, what they do is that they are very pious, they have so much devotion to Dharma, so pious, and then attend so many teachings here, there, and then going through the receiving empowerments, commitments, and so forth. Then slowly they build up their daily recitations. Daily what they have to recite, it gets built up. And then sometimes the recitation, only the recitation, just to recite, would take them like 3 hours. And then the energy is gone. And on top of that, many of them, they have the daily job, their own work, plus the household chores, the family, and so forth. So that is where we don't really know how to create a proper blueprint. So once you know how to create proper blueprint on the basis of understanding the whole Dharma in its full form, then you will have time for your recitation, you will have time for your actual practice. After knowing what the Dharma is, then it's very important for us to actually practice a little bit, to actually meditate, not just read. Reading is one part, it has benefit, tremendous benefit, it will help us to meditate. But if you don't meditate at all, say, whereas if somebody is in age just like late teen or early young adult, like age 20, 21, 22, 25, then it's fine. But for us who's already like 30 or 40, right, we cross that, then we need time for practice. We have to practice somewhere. And the study is very important. Meanwhile, don't compromise with the studies. So whatever commitment that we have, is the recitation and so forth, do it. And if possible, don't unnecessarily make it so bulky. The commitments. Unnecessarily don't make them too bulky. Okay, I decided to recite this sutra, that sutra, so forth. The recitation is very good. Somebody who's not doing anything as compared to that, somebody who's reading the sutras and finding no time to do anything else, even that person is much better. But somebody who can actually meditate, not just recite the sutra, also meditate. For these people, then okay, it is like a business. So somebody who can make, say, 2,000 shekel a day, right? 2,000 shekel a day, and if that person is able to make 2,000 shekel a day and make it, it's fine, very good. Whereas a person can make 2,000 shekel a day, but actually the makes 1,000 shekel a day, this is not good. Somebody else, maybe, if the competency the person has is to make 500 shekels. As compared to that person, you are doing much better, but your skill is much more than that. You're getting it? So some people some person who can make just 500 shekels a day, and you are making 1,000 shekels a day, you are much better, but you should not feel complacent because you have the capacity to make 2,000 shekel a day, right? So the point is that whatever capacity that you have, you should be able to utilize them properly and fruitfully. This is the idea. So with this mind, say we need a little bit of time for, say, the practice meaning the sadhana, commitments and so forth one. Then number 2 is the study, little bit of study time. Then number 3 is actual meditation. These 3 things are required. This is so important. So the 3 things are required. Oftentimes, people are busy, they could not even finish the recitation, right? Let alone time for meditation. So this is why we are doing this retreat is just for that purpose, to build your practice, to make sure that you have at least some time for your sadhanas, commitments, sometimes for your section of your some time for the study, meaning reading the philosophical text for you to enrich your knowledge. Then number 3 is actual practice meditation. So these 3 things, how to make it happen. So that is the main purpose for this Bodhicitta retreat. So the point is that finally, what do you mean by the blueprint, the comprehensive dharma, so that we can summarize everything in points 4 plus 1. 4 plus 1. Okay, 4 plus 1, why don't we say 5 directly rather than saying 4 plus 1? There's a reason. 4 plus 1 because 4 are the bases and the 5 is something which will happen almost automatically if you have the 4. Without the 4, the 5th one is totally meaningless. What are the 4? Number 1, renunciation. Number 2, bodhicitta. Number 3, wisdom of emptiness. And number 4, shamatha practice. Shamatha practice. Okay, let me say this again. Renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness, and shamatha. 4. Then number 5 is tantra. Tantra. Okay, if you have these 4, the 5th will automatically come. 5th will automatically come. Automatically come meaning, say, people like us who are born in this era where the great teachers like His Holiness the Dalai Lama are still alive. So for us, we are bound to meet with Tantra if you have the first 4. Without the first 4, jumping to Tantra makes no sense. Many people do that. And oftentimes, it's very pathetic. People, what they say is that, so although I'm not really ready for Tantra, but His Holiness the Dalai Lama is going to give the cultural empowerment, and this is the last, we heard that it's going to be the last one, it's so precious, otherwise you're not going to get it. No, this is not the point. Even if it's the last, but if you are not really ready for this, why are you jumping there, right? So this is how people are totally misguided because of no understanding of the real dharma. So the point is that we need to have these 4 points, and the 5th one is bound to happen to us. Okay, the next, this prayer book, because our group is not that big, so this prayer book we will take with us for all the 3 meals: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So either the lunch, dinner meal together, separately for the retreatants, or mixed with other people.
No, we have separate tables.
If you have a separate table, then I would suggest that take this book with you, and from this, starting from, I think page, okay, starting from page 48, starting from page 48, you can read like 20 stanzas every time. 20 stanzas every time before you have your meal. 20 stanzas every time before you eat. And then if it is like 22 stanzas, you can finish the 22 stanzas, right?
You mean together or
Together.
Page 48?
Page 48, yes. From there, you see one section. First one is just the page 50. It has just 4 stanzas. If the text is short, you will just read this text. Less than 20 stanzas, you read the text and just stop there. Right? And if sometimes the stanzas they could be like 80, 100 stanzas. So then you just read 20 and you stop there. And then whoever starts the reading should say mention the title and the author. Why we are doing this is it is extremely skillful and beneficial. So that I'll explain it later. So this is what we should be doing for all the 3 meals, before the 3 meals: breakfast, the lunch and the dinner. And then after this reading, then you will say the food offering verses. It's in the end, towards the end, where is it? Food offering verses. Okay, so page 304. Page 304, food offering verses. So soon after reading the stanzas, then we read these food offering verses. And why the food offering verses are being said is that there's a great benefit. If possible, try to memorize these, and not necessarily in Tibetan, but what we have in the Tibetan here, and I'm sure many of you, attend His Holiness Dharma's teachings so often. Every time His Holiness gives teachings during the tea break, then the offering of the tea made is on the basis of the Tibetan stanza that you find here. So if you can memorize this by heart, then during His Holiness's teachings, you actually feel yourself a part of it, because His Holiness will start this offering, and you can say this together with His Holiness in Tibetan. So this is great benefit. Now, more importantly, why these food offering verses are said and the benefit is that for us to undertake this journey of enlightenment, Buddhahood, we need so much of merit. For us to come from Tel Aviv or from where? Galilee. Leon from where? Although from there coming to the Tel Aviv, the car should have enough gas. Right? Without the gas, then the car cannot move. So enlightenment, the gas is even more required, right? For enlightenment. What is that gas? Merit, accumulation merit. So every time you eat food, before you eat food, you are offering this to all Bodhisattvas, you are accumulating enormous amount of merit without any difficulty, without any effort, and 3 times a day, easily 3 times a day into 365 times a year, 365 into 3 times. So this is the amount of merit that you can accumulate. And the Buddha said that the one who has enough merit, his or her wishes will be accomplished spontaneously because of the merit. So therefore, accumulation merit is so important. And sometimes it is good for for the Israelis who already embrace Buddhism, to learn from the Tibetans, very standard Tibetan practitioners. From them, learn how they're doing in terms of accumulation merit. Every morning they make sure that they make water offering, water offering, and then say every time they go to the shopping, right? The first thing that comes to their mind is, what can I buy to offer to Buddhism Bodhisattvas? Right? And then you own shopping later. So this is the mentality. This is how we keep accumulating merit. This is so important. And it's not necessary that you have to offer something big, huge, you say large amount. There's something which is beautiful, something which is nice, something which you like. It may not be huge amount, right? So the first thing, the thought that should come to your mind when you go for shopping is, okay, what can I buy for my offering to the Buddhism Bodhisattvas? If you can think like this is how we accumulate merit. And then how many times we do shopping in our life, right? So for shopping, not necessarily big shoppings, even for your stationeries, even for your groceries, you do shoppings. So there, if you can always think of the Buddha's Bodhisattvas, you constantly accumulate merit. This is so precious. Okay, so the food will take minimum 3 times a week, 3 times a day, right? Yes, no?
Yes.
3 times a week, minimum. So 3 times we offer. This is a great, great opportunity for us to accumulate merit. Okay, one. And then the one is accumulation merit. Then number 2 is in the next life, you meet with Dharma very easily. Okay, how many of you met Dharma in your teenage? Huh? Not right. So therefore, to meet Dharma at such a teenage is very important, right? Very important. For that matter, when you say, for example, we offer this food to the Buddha, the teacher of unconditional love, only this understanding, independent response and others. We offer this food to Dharma, right? So Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, it's always constantly in our mind. So this will make you connect to the Buddha, Dharma, the Sangha in the next life. In the next life, since early as your teenage, very young age. So these are some of the tips by which to be connected with the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, even in the next life, till Buddhahood. Okay, so this is very precious. Now the next part of why we are reading the stanzas from the text from here, we just continue, keep reading down, keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. In 4 days we will not be able to finish this book. It doesn't matter, right? And you don't read a lot, just make it like 20 stanzas standard. And sometimes it can be less than 20 stanzas, sometimes it can be a little more than 20 stanzas, 21, 22 like this. Why we are reading this is because we are doing the class for 4 days. Excluding today, we are doing the class for 4 days. 4 days, and if you listen to the teaching so well, that is 4 days the teaching. And then you read these stanzas, 20 stanzas, 60 stanzas a day, 20 into 3. Day, that suffices going 2 classes in parallel. You're getting it? What we're doing here is that's the one which will light the torch, to light the garden, many other gardens. So you're reading 60 stanzas a day. 60 stanzas a day, meaning that if we are the teaching, we cannot cover 60 stanzas. At the most, we can cover 20 stanzas. 20 stanzas. So which means that 60 stanzas it suffices almost like 2 stanzas classes going parallel for each one of us. Parallel. So it suffices like the class for the retreat for the 8 days. This is the benefit. Why? Because all what we read here, you can easily follow them if you follow the class here. If you follow the class here, your mind is very fresh, there's a momentum there in your mind. With this momentum and the freshness of what you learn from the class, then you read, you will see everything there. Right? This is incredible. So therefore, just you attend the retreat for 4 days, and we're actually getting the retreat for 8 days, minimum 8 days. The benefit is what we're getting out of this. So therefore, reading the text, this is so precious, a great opportunity for us. Although it's going to be a little tiring for all of you, but I would suggest that take it very seriously and give importance to this. Let us not miss reading these stanzas. Okay. Then prostrations. Okay. I'm not too sure if some of you know about it. So prostration and make prostrations. Say we have to even know how to make prostrations. Prostrations, the Tibetan version, Indian version, Chinese version, all versions are correct. They differ from each other. They differ, but they're all correct. It's not necessarily only the Tibetan version is correct and others are wrong. It's not true. All versions are correct. The point is, prostration is what? Prostration is indication of your respect.